Have you ever run away from something that God told you only to come back to it multiple times? Know that you're not alone. Yes, it happened to me too. And I thought, after following God for so many years, I know everything that he says. I know that, you know what I mean? I know what he says and I'm obedient. Yeah, it doesn't always happen like that. This time last week, I couldn't go to sleep. Last Friday night, I said, okay, I'm going to listen to a Bible plan that I haven't listened to in a minute. Like, I usually only listen to it, like, it's the last resort when when I can't go to sleep. Because, I mean, I listen to, like, current Bible plans, like, while I'm going to sleep or, or to a, spiritual book, something like, of course, positive to put into, to put into my head positive thoughts and scriptures and, things like that before I go to sleep. But this time I listened to my old Bible app plan. So for some reason, it goes through the entire book of Jonah. And I was like, wait a minute, like sometimes I'm listening to things like Exodus and I'm like, oh, I don't have to come out of slavery, or I know that sounds different, but, or just some things that I'm like, it doesn't relate to me right now. But for some reason, Jonah, it was like hitting me. I was like, ooh, God, is there something that I'm like is there something that you told me to do or a Nineveh that you told me to go to that I'm going the opposite direction from? And so I went to sleep, woke up, did a retreat, which I do on the first of every month. And, just to reset, spend more time with God. And baby, did he talk to me. So it was a long time and I definitely journaled through it. But I will shorten this by saying this. And I'll, of course, come out with more videos, likely in the future, more testimonials, of course, like saying, some of what I heard. But this is what I wanted to share because I spoke to a friend maybe last night, and she's actually on here, Carla. And I told her the word that I received. And she talked about, using the word while it was fresh. So I wanted to, wait and create a whole, kind of like either sermon or, my friend Gabby said I can do a, maybe like a TED Talk or something like that, or, a talk, something like that, and I still probably will, but I wanted to get this word out while it was fresh. So the word that God gave me for the month was produce. And so it was not just, produce, but actually produce. So I was, when the word first came to me at the end of like my time, because I usually, end it with like, okay, God, what's my word for the month? And it was like produce. But as soon as I heard produce, I heard produce. Of course, it's the same word. So I had to look it up. So if you know me or, follow my page, I'm always creating content. And I'm a filmmaker. I have created films, and this is a path that I am pursuing. Nothing in the theaters yet, but that is the goal, to have films that I produce go into theaters, go into streaming platforms, etc. And of course, go to the masses, go to the world. So the Nineveh that I believe that I was running away from was actually the film world. Like, as much as I was going to it, I was running away from it. I was, trying to do other things, just pursuing a lot, and like even being confused, like a double-minded man, who's unstable in all his ways, just like, oh, maybe I should do this and maybe I should do that. And, God brought me right back to how much favor he gave me in film, right? So the word he gave me was produce content. That's why I came back on TikTok. That's why, I'm back on Meta, and even though I hate to even say it, but I believe that, of course, the creators of the platform, don't want us. They don't want DEI. They don't want, to support people of color. They don't want to support the underrepresented. But guess what? We are going to use it to support us, to support each other, to support the, disenfranchised, to support the forgotten, to support the lost, to support, people who, are like me that, need some encouragement from time to time. So that's why I'm using my platform. That's why I'm back on these platforms. And that's what I'm going to do, produce. But like I said, when I got that word produce, God's, I was like, for the first time I was thinking like, why is produce called produce, right? When we think about, I think about fruits and vegetables or anything fresh, right? So I looked up the definition and I don't have it. Actually, I do have it, but I looked up the definition and it said, produce is a term for farm-produced crops and goods. It could include meats. Specifically implies products that are fresh and generally in the same state as where they were harvested. And then I wrote, can you imagine? Man, listen. And then I was like, wow, produce also can mean fruit. And you guys know, well, if you don't know, and I think even, just in general, right? We know how much fruit is a part of the Bible, how much God wants to see our fruit. When we do produce, he wants to see the fruit that comes out of it. We will judge people by their fruit, right? It's not about what we say. It's not about, me getting on this platform and, saying a bunch of words or me even giving you this word, but it's about the fruit that is produced from it. So that was my word that I got and I wanted to share it. I shared it with a couple friends and now I want to share it with you. Listen, I don't know if it's your word, but I know one thing, that if you do produce, right, whatever you do produce, right, it is going to bear fruit, right? So I want you to produce, things that you want to see that fruit, right? You want to see the fruit out of the things that you produce. What are you producing? Are you following, what God told you? Are you going to Nineveh? Or are you trying to run away from it? Don't get caught up in a whale like I did. And there is, if you want to go to Proverbs chapter 1, verses like 22 through, just read to the end of the chapter. It really talks about wisdom calling out. And that's how I felt like God was doing to me. Just calling out from the streets, from the squares, loudly. God was calling out to Jonah to go to Nineveh, but he was like, no, you know what? I'm going to go this other way. So whatever dream God is putting on your heart, whatever he's calling you to produce, man, produce it so that you can get that fresh produce. And that's why I wanted to bring y'all this word right now, because like I said, what Carla said is that, the thing about produce is, it's fresh. And that's what, and that's a part of what produce is. So God bless y'all. I love y'all. Have an amazing day. See y'all next time.